Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Brief little message on exercise. Exercise can be very good for you. It can also be very detrimental to your health. You have to remember that when you exercise, when you sweat profusely, you are losing large amounts of your nutritional reserves. You're losing your electrolytes, you're losing minerals, you name it. And unless you are replenishing those adequately, which most people aren't with these sports drinks and all this other garbage that's just pure marketing, unless you are replenishing what you're losing, you are significantly lowering your potential to have a long life. Look into the research of Dr. Joel Wallach. He talks a lot about this. Exercise, ladies and gentlemen, makes your heart beat fast. It makes you breathe hard. And the Taoists will tell you that the harder your heart beats, the quicker it beats, and the harder you breathe, the quicker you die. To them, health is all about reserving energy, preserving it, and holding on to it, slow, rhythmic breathing, not wasting your resources. You can think of, like, when you exercise really hard, ladies and gentlemen, you sweat profusely and you're breathing super hard again and your heart's pounding, it's basically like your candle wick burning really quickly. And if the wax of the candle is your lifespan and your quality of life, and you are burning through that candle really rapidly, you can put two and two together. So if you are going to exercise, ladies and gentlemen, you have got to put your nutritional reserves back into your system, especially if you're doing things that aren't like supportive exercise like I'm doing right now, which is just walking, which is good for the body, it's good for the mind, it's good for the entire musculoskeletal system. But if you're like going to saunas, cycling a lot like I used to do, you're going to want to make sure that you're supplementing and putting back what it is that you're losing. Otherwise, what you're losing, a lot of these constituents, the body can't produce on its own. It needs to be put back into the body through diet. So that's why multi-mineral shakes and whatnot can be very beneficial. Again, look into the research of Dr. Joel Wallach. I don't want to make this a super long video because I've got to get back to the house. But just remember that in my opinion, the research on exercise and its ability to increase lifespan is, there's not a whole lot of it. There's not enough of it for me to believe that, exercise, constant exercise, which they promote in the West, is just some magic panacea that's going to help you live a better and longer life. I used to cycle up to 15 hours a week. And let me tell you, after about 1.5 to 2 years of doing that, I had chronic fatigue problems. I had issues with my sleep. I just felt weak and frail. Whereas before, when I first started doing that, I had a ton of strength, explosive energy. But the more I sweat and the less I put back into my system, or I wasn't putting enough back into my system, I didn't understand, the fact that my body needed these essential fatty acids. I needed all this whole spectrum of vitamins and minerals. I was doing my best at the time, but it's taken me quite a long time to mature to the point that I have where I understand nutrition a lot better. And I also understand that just because they say exercise is good for you doesn't mean that it's necessarily good for you. And what I've learned over the years is that supportive exercise, like moderate swimming and light yoga and walking, those are the best forms of exercise, in conjunction with learning how to do things like pranayama, deep breathing, rhythmic breathing, alternate nose breathing, left and right nostril breathing, yogic breathing. These are very beneficial things. Cooling yourself down, lowering the amount of inflammation, ladies and gentlemen, learning to breathe slower, learning how to lower your heart rate. The faster your heart beats and the harder you breathe, according to the Taoists, the quicker you die, because that is synonymous with you losing your energy. It's like constantly getting in your vehicle and just flooring it instead of driving it lightly and undertaking proper maintenance. So here in the West, we think that we can push our bodies 10,000% all the time and they're just going to last. And although the body's very patient with us and it's very tolerant, we have to put back what we're losing when we exercise.